everyone, it's Sharana from Pay or Waits, and today I'm going to be reviewing the HBO Max series Made for Love, which is currently streaming on the HBO Max platform. This series stars Kristen Milioti, Billy Magnussen, Ray Romano, as this series is based on the novel of the same title by Alyssa Nutting, who also serves as a writer of this series. But it centers around Kristen's character, Hazel, who is a young woman who is on the run after 10 years in a suffocating marriage to a tech billionaire who suddenly realizes that her husband has placed a revolutionary monitoring device in her brain that allows him to track her every single move. So for those of you who are new to my channel, welcome, hello, so glad you came, I hope you stay. I tell you what I liked about the series, what I didn't like about the series, and is it worth your time or not binging Made for Love on HBO Max. So going into the series that I was actually able to stream due to the South by Southwest Film Festival, so shout out to them, shout out to HBO. But going into what I enjoyed about this series really rests on the shoulders of Kristen Milioti, who does such a fantastic job at playing Hazel, who is a woman who has her own secrets. But as you get to uncover the reasons that have led her into this 10-year marriage with her husband, Brian, played by Billy Magnussen, I think she does so well as being charismatic, while also playing a very snarky and skeptical character as we get to learn about the Hazel that Brian first came to know and love. This may be reminiscent to her role in last year's Palm Springs. Also, too, as we get into this discussion surrounding the dangers of technology, the advances that many tech billionaires such as Brian will think that he is helping this planet, he is helping humanity. However, how these recreations or these new inventions into tech, as they delve deeper and deeper into our personal history, and this time into our personal lives, as Hazel no longer has privacy because her husband can see her every single move. I love the theme surrounding this as we talk about toxic relationships, toxic masculinity, also to the dangers of technology, but most importantly, what the show actually gets right is it's able to tackle all of those topics without beating you over the head. It's very subtle as you go into flashbacks, as you learn more about Hazel and Byron's relationship, as you learn about some of the signs that Brian showed to really help Hazel understand what she could have possibly gotten herself into, but also too, how does a woman like Hazel easily become swept off her feet by someone like Byron? And I think that there's a good use of that. I will get into more of a pacing issue as I get into the cons, but for us, when we're first introduced to the couple, they seem like the perfect couple, a happy marriage, a happy relationship. But as we get to see some of the intricacies to Billy Magnussen's character, Byron, you start to realize that maybe this wasn't built on solid ground as we were to believe as the series first opens. But I do want to give a shout out to Billy Magnussen, who I think he is fantastic as Brian, as this eccentric, larger than life, but really very claustrophobic, wants to shut himself off for the rest of the world as they only reside in the hub to never have left for the past 10 years. I think that he plays the character with the level of charm, the level of charm of a sociopath in my personal opinion. But I think what Billy Magnussen does right is that he knows how to balance the charm along with giving you this very foreboding, like, feeling as though there's something just not right about Brian. And I love how he portrays that and how he balances so effortlessly between the two until we get to see who the real Byron actually is. Now also too, Ray Romano plays Hazel's father, as we get to explore more about what led Hazel to even coming into contact with Byron and how she could have what people would say so foolishly have found herself in a relationship like this. There's an interesting character that I'm not going to reveal to you because I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who haven't heard of the series before. But there's an interesting companionship that Ray Romano's character has, and he just plays it in a way that instead of it being this running joke throughout the series, which they make it that, but you actually begin to care about this relationship and you care how his character reacts and how he feels, especially as we see how the outside world basically chastises him for it. Now, also too, I do want to give a shout out because it does such a great job. When you hear about this, when you hear about a premise like this, with tech becoming dangerous, becoming invasive of your privacy, you think Black Mirror, right? And Black Mirror has a darker turn to it. Now, interesting fact, both Billy Magnuson and Kristen Milioti played in a Black Mirror episode. I believe it was the USS McAllister. But what I think that Made for Love does so well is it does a very fantastic job of balancing the comedy with the darkness of the show. There is a dark undertone that happens throughout the course of the series because even though it is funny, Hazel is still running for her life. Right? She is running from this billionaire who can pay anyone, who can trace anyone, but most specifically, he knows her every single move. And as you really delve into the horror behind that, I think they do a really great job of balancing making it lighter than what it could be. It could have been turned into a drama if they wanted it to, but I think they do a very great job of balancing it where it's more palatable for the audience to actually experience, but you get the comedy side of it, but you also truly believe that Hazel is in danger. Now, even though I have a lot of things that I do enjoy about this series, I do feel as though from a writing standpoint, I feel as though that some of the characters aren't really delved deep into. Because we spend so much time focusing on Byron and Hazel's relationship, but most importantly, the backstory, the series delves into a lot of flashbacks, some for the most part that are absolutely necessary in order for us to understand how Hazel has landed herself in the position that she is now 10 years later. But because we kind of do a back and forth from present day to past, as we explore Hazel's family life, as we get into Hazel and Byron's relationship, I feel as though that time takes up time to really flesh out characters such as Byron, who I really didn't feel as though I got to learn anything from his character until we reached this season finale, but also too exploring more of Ray Romano's character, not only just the relationship between him and Hazel, but also too delving deeper into the heartbreak that he's experienced that I can't go deeper into because I don't want to spoil it for you. Maybe they're saving that for a season 2 if it does get renewed, but I do feel as though that the series as a whole, it really fell short because you're spending so much time trying to catch everyone up as to what has happened in the past to really help us understand what is happening in the present and the future going forward, that I just felt as though while the premise is very interesting for me, I felt as though the first half of the season, it took a while for me to really get invested into the series. And really for me, I feel as though that Made for Love is better in a binging model, which I watched the first 4 episodes and I waited for the episodes to come through because I saw the show's potential, but I didn't necessarily feel like they hit a home run until I delved into the second half of the season. So for what I would tell you guys to do with you and your time for Made for Love, I would definitely tell you that it's worth watching. It's only 8 episodes, 30 minutes long. It is currently streaming on the HBO Max streaming platform. But those are my thoughts on Made for Love. As always, my name is Sharronda from Payroll Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. And until I see you again,